Hello everyone, my name is Fazal. You are watching MFA Civil Engineering. For the production of the aggregate, different type of the crushers are used. Crushers are used mainly to reduce the size of the large stone or rock to a smaller uniform size aggregate required for the concrete mix. Crushing consists of a pressure, impact, attrition or a combination of these operations. In aggregate productions, crushers are usually classified as primary crusher, secondary crusher, and tertiary crusher. Primary crusher reduce the size of the raw boulders to a relatively small size, which are usually non-uniform in size. Then crushed boulders goes to the secondary crushers where it crushed into a finer and more uniform product. Tertiary crusher provide a third degree size reductions and used for the production of the fine aggregate. The different type of the crushers used for the production of the aggregates are jaw crusher, gyratory crusher, cone crusher, roll crusher, hammer mill, and rod mill and ball mill. Jaw crusher is one of the primary crusher. It operates by allowing a stone to flow into the space between the two jaws, one of which is stationary and other is movable, which together constitute the crushing surface. The distance between the two jaws decreases as the stone travels downward under the effect of the gravity and ultimately passes through the lower opening. The movable jaws is capable of exerting a pressure sufficiently high to crush the hard rock. The movable jaw is suspended from the shaft mounted on the bearing on the crusher frame. The jaw plates are made up of manganese steels which can be removed, replaced or reversed. Gyratory crusher is another type of the primary crusher. This type of the crusher consists of a hardened steel head mounted vertically on the shaft line with a hardened steel plate. The head has a long conical shape with a tough shaft suspended in the bearing at the top and an eccentric base connections connected to the gear. Thus, as the cone is rotated, the gap between itself and the walling changes from maximum to minimum for the each cycle. The rock is fed into the chamber at the top and as it moves downward, crushing is done and finally emerges through the bottom gap. The size of this type of the crusher is the width of the receiving opening, measured between the concave and the crush head. It is available in the size varying from 20 cm to 200 cm. Cone crushers are used as a secondary or the tertiary crusher. These crushers are capable of producing a large quantity of uniformly fine crushed stone. It has a shorter cone with a small inlet and the outlet opening as compared to the gyratory crusher. In this type of the crusher, the manganese steel conical head is mounted on the vertical shaft, which serves as one of the crushing surface. The other surface is a concave which is attached to the upper part of the crusher frame. The bottom of the shaft is set in an eccentric bushing to produce a gyratory effect as the shaft rotates. Roll crushers are also one of the secondary or the tertiary crusher. These crushers consist of a heavy cast iron frame equipped with the two counter rotating rollers mounted on a separate horizontal shaft. The crushed rock from the primary crusher is fed through the gap between the two rollers for the further crushing. Usually, one roller has a fixed axis while the other can be adjusted to a given required of the setting. This crusher is compact, light in weight and low in cost. Hammer mill is one of the impact crusher, mostly used as a primary or secondary crusher. It consists of the housing frame, a horizontal shaft extended through the frame, number of arms, hammers attached to the frame, and one or more hard steel breaker plate. As the stone feed to the mill, The hammer, which are driven by the motor, move at a high speed and break the stone into a pieces, and driving them against the hardened plate further reduce their sizes. Rod mill and the ball mills are the tertiary crusher. A rod mill consists of a circular steel shell. The interior of the shell is lined on the inside with a hard mineral wearing surface. The shell contains a number of the steel rods. The length of these rods is slightly less than the length of the shell. Crushed stone is fed through the inlet and the fine aggregate of the size of the sand is discharged at the other end. If the rods are replaced by the steel balls to provide the impact required to grind the stone, the crusher is known as the ball mill crusher. The size of the balls generally used is 50 mm diameter in size.